I'm going to show you the 3 things that you're going to work on for this shoot, Miss Ashley. Number 1 is awkward cropping and showing more. Number 2 is recomposing, especially for children's bodies, and number 3 is shooting for depth. So the first thing I'm going to show you is awkward cropping of limbs, and this is something that I think happens a lot when someone's looking to photograph a really cute detail. Like, you're like, oh, her little hand is so pretty, or her little feet are so cute because she's pushing off of her toe there. But the problem is that they become disembodied limbs. So this hand is just like, you can't see who it belongs to. Same with the feet. A shot like this is not as bad because it's more obvious that it's mom and dad standing side by side. But still, it's kind of a random picture. I like details like this. It just has to be done right. So for a picture like this, you can see this is Kate's body here, and this is her arm. So to make it better, see this negative space down here? If you get rid of that, tilt your camera up so that her fingers are down by the bottom, and then you can see her whole body, maybe a little bit of her head right here, and then the arm. So it's not just cropped arm random. It's kind of like, oh, this is Kate's body, but we're focusing on her arm. Same thing here. Either, I think it's like you're in like a middle zone, an awkward middle zone. So either you need to zoom in and make the picture like all about this foot. I'm just going to show you with the crop tool. So yeah, either like zoom in like with a macro, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, her cute little foot, and like that is the photo, the whole thing, because it's clear that the focus is the foot. Or tilt your camera up so you can see more of her legs and of her body, so it's kind of like you'd see her whole body, but the focus is down on the foot. So that's important, because otherwise I can't use the pictures that are cropped like this, or like cropping off the little toes over here, because they're just slightly too random. And then other than that, awkward cropping. So for a family portrait like this is a smiley picture. We're not really getting creative. It's just the standard portrait, and we want space around. See that nobody's body is touching the edge of the screen or the frame. But this next picture, we cropped mom's arm. And for a family smiling shot, we want that space. So this becomes awkward, because it's like, well, why is mom kind of chopped in half? Whereas with a picture like this, mom's head is chopped in half, her body's chopped in half, Kate's missing her face. And that's okay, because the focus here is actually on the hand kissing. And so this is a more artistic shot. This shot has more of an intimate focus, so I love it when we fill the frame and crop people in half. But for the standard shot, we want that nice clean space around the outside. Okay, and then the next thing I was going to mention was recomposing for children's bodies. And I talk a lot about recomposing when you're in a forest, like tilting your camera upwards so that you can see how tall the trees are. But when we're working with children, it's often the opposite, and it's recomposing down. So if the child is walking here, little Kate is walking in her room, and she's getting cropped her legs, whereas if you tilt the camera down, now you see her whole little body and her adorable little feet, recomposing to show off her body. And it's way more powerful than just half of her body. Just like when you tilt the camera up to show how tall trees are, you're showing how short she is. And then same thing here. So this is not exactly the same, but it's something similar. Kate's on Dad's shoulders. Dad's missing his face. That's kind of an awkward crop, because it's kind of like, whose head is that? And her feet are chopped off. But if you tilt the camera down, now they're filling the frame more, and you can see Dad holding your little feet. You can see that it's Dad. So this is more of a whole, complete picture, and this is kind of missing some stuff to make it a rock star picture. Here's another example when she's on her head on the grass. it's like dad's leg is kind of chopped off, and then there's all this extra space over here, and then there's this grassy space here, and she's right in the middle. But if we recompose it one direction or the other, you can either make it all about her body and her cute little feet by bringing her right to the bottom of the frame, or you can take her to the top of the frame and make it all about, like, look, she's in grass, look how much grass there is, and she's in it. Like, so you can tilt your camera and it becomes more of a dramatic and it looks more intentional kind of picture, whereas this kind of picture is just kind of more of a snapshot iPhone kind of photo. This is more artistically created. So yes, so the awkward cropping and recomposing to show off children's bodies, both of those kind of go hand in hand, because blah blah blah. So we're recomposing to get, come on Shamini, wait a second. Okay, so we're recomposing to get the whole body shot. We're recomposing to get the dramatic grass shot. But if we don't recompose, then it can end up being more awkward. In that same family, when we are shooting down on children, the angle hides their face. And see, we're a kind of awkward crop here, because like, where is her hand? We're chopping off her fingers. Like, what is she doing? I don't really know what's going on here. And I can't see her face because I'm shooting down. So you're only seeing the top side of her face, her top side of her nose, top side of her mouth. If you come down to her level, do you see how much of a difference the face is? Now I can see all the details in her face, and all I do is you just come down to the eye level with her, and then you're not at an angle, you're straight on. And if you wanted to show what she's doing, maybe she's holding a ball or something, you know, then you need to get rid of this negative space, tilt the camera down, and have the focus on her hands. And then we're not going to be worried about not seeing her face because we're focusing on what's going on with her hands. But if this picture is meant to be about her face, it's not really doing anything. A picture about her face needs to actually be about her face, like that. Okay, and then the third thing I was going to show you was depth. So I find it adds really nice sense of story and beautiful pictures when you add depth. So this is the smiley family shot. They're just sitting there on the deck straight on. But if you walk around to the side of dad and take a picture of mom and Kate this direction, then you're focused on them and dad will be blurry, like this. You're focused on them, dad is blurry. And that gives you more of a feeling of being there, because very rarely do you sit and look straight at people, whereas here it's kind of like what you'd see if you were sitting next to dad and you look over, and it adds a really nice variety to the story that you're telling, because then these can go side by side. But if you took all the pictures just faced on at the same level, then it starts to be a little more boring. Same thing here. Mom is there you are in the background. Mom is next to dad, and they're all on the same level in terms of distance from the camera. Whereas with this, you're standing at a slightly different angle. Pop-up picture, come on. Here, slightly different angle. So you walk around behind mom and shoot over her shoulder. This makes the picture a little bit more interesting because now you've got depth. She's closer and blurry, and this is further away. And also it starts to tell more of a story. This is just straight on, but this is what mom is seeing. This is mom's perspective, and that's what she'll remember, and that's why we're giving her that picture. And then still in the same category as depth, something I love doing these days is putting the child or the parents in front, so that this is a portrait of Kate. Not about her parents, but her parents are there. So this is a nice family portrait that's just getting more creative because everybody in the family is present, but the focus is very clearly on her. And then you can get into the whole symbolism of mom and dad being, behind her, and it's from them that she comes, and all that blah blah blah, all that romantic stuff. But that's what makes it such a nice picture, so that there is all that depth artistically and symbolically, and it just looks cool too. And then so something I like to do is when you do this depth, focus on her and have them be blurry, and then switch, focus on them and have her be blurry. And then these are beautiful side by side because it's they're complementary. So those are the three things you can focus on. The awkward limb cropping, the awkward farm cropping, the recomposing to show off more of the story, especially children's bodies, and finally shooting for depth. The depth really makes your pictures come alive. So yeah, voila, good job, super pretty photos. And those are the three things you can work on. Awesome, have a great day, bye.